So I'm in the office a bit more recently, which is quite fun. This is my office. I'm not going to show it to you because there's loads of company branding all over the place. But I'm in the office a bit more, and I figure I can still do quick take, quick thought videos in the office on my lunch break. Just record them on my phone, rather than, you know, not doing content those couple of days that I'm in the office. I think that's kind of just an important thing to do, because otherwise we're going to have less content coming out, and I don't want to do that to you guys because I think I have a lot of things to share, and I don't want to not capture my thoughts if I have a brainwave in the office, you know, because it's just wasting, it's just losing time, and I can, if there's no one else around, I can just record a 10-minute video pretty quickly and talk to you guys about my thoughts. So hello, welcome to this episode of Steelfur Speaks, where we do the classic content creator thing and list out some crazy and wild predictions for Everfest. So first prediction, the carnival slot. So far we're seeing a lot of new art for existing heroes. We've seen Bravo star of the show. We've seen a jester that looks incredibly like Dash. So the first prediction, I guess, is that this carnival slot they keep talking about is going to be a renamed, re-arted version of an older card. Now, they may just be doing it for heroes, so you may just get a Dash that's got an Everfest carnival spin, just as a bit of fun. But there is part of me that hopes that they will do this for a lot of these staple generic cards that are now out of print, which could be quite fun. So like the idea that you're going to reprint Command and Conquer, but call it, say, Command and Caper, maybe. Still Command and Conquer for legality reasons. You know, Magic have those subtitle on the new things like Dracula and stuff like that, that make the card the same card for legality and gameplay reasons, but have it as a separate card for theme and things like that. The other thing I think, because I just think that would be a really good way to capture the theme of Everfest and get people quite excited. Also, it would be very interesting for lore reasons if those heroes were at the Everfest Carnival for some reason, either have been brought there by the flow and don't remember who they are, so they're just taking part in the carnival, or they're underground on a mission for some reason because someone's told them something evil is going on. And that would be a really good way to get the original arc and WTR heroes into the meta. Sorry, not into the meta, into the lore and the current story, rather than just like having them do their own thing in other parts of Wraith. It would be really fun if, for some reason, you know, Dash and Dorinthia and Bolton and, you know, Azalea and all these other people just came to Everfest and were there, involved in the story that's going to unfold. Because I'm almost certain at this point that Chain and Levia and their army of demons are going to invade Everfest. Now, personally, I think Prism is also going to invade Aria as well. You're probably going to see an army of heralds, and I actually predict there might be a three-way battle for control of some powerful magical artifact at the heart of Aria, potentially at the heart of Korshem. What it is, I don't know, but I predict that there will be a three-way fight between Chain, Levia, Shadow, and then the Aria heroes and all of their friends, and that Chain and Levia will bring a huge army of demons, Prism will bring a huge army of heralds and conjurations and phantasmaclasms, and there's going to be a massive then throwdown between all of those and the central heroes of our story, which are going to look to defend Aria from something. Because we know that Chain was designed to be strong because he is designed to be the main villain of the set, but Prism is also there as this kind of like, yes, she's a light hero, but light isn't necessarily always good in fantasy, and it's one of those trope parts of fantasy stories where light becomes the villain a lot of the times and Shadow becomes the good guy. And I don't think they're going down that trope route, but they may have a reverse trope or a surprise plot twist or whatever. People love doing those these days, where both Shadow and Light are villains, and really the only people that are good are the actual people who are part of the area defending the local area, and then they've got help from these other heroes as a side. My third prediction, which I think may surprise some people, this is just purely based on kind of how I see these things progressing, is that I actually expect that we will see some of the Crucible heroes, the young heroes, the ones that have been deemed to be we'll say viable or at least interesting or well-rounded, actually make their way into adult versions for Classic Constructed. Now, the ones that aren't very good, so obviously we're talking about Datadol, KO, you know, those ones probably are just going to be put aside as sort of failed experiments because they didn't work out. But I would actually expect to see heroes like Benji and Kasai getting adult versions because they've proved very well in you know, young hero form. They're quite popular in terms of art and feel with playgroups, and essentially we're in a position where I feel like using supplementary sets as a test bed for interesting young hero ideas that aren't tied to a specific element or theme of the set or anything like that is actually a really smart idea. So if like every other supplementary set we get a young hero that they just want to play test a bit more, and then if it works out, then 3 sets later we get an adult version, is actually a really interesting way of doing things. Because one of the things I have said many times is that A, playtesting in Flesh and Blood needs to get better. Let's just move this camera a little bit. And B, you know, there is no reason that Blitz cannot be the playtest arena for Classic Constructed. There's no reason why, and I say this because I wish the game had more heroes that rewarded more creative design or more weird deck building like Icelander and the new heroes we're starting to see there, where they say, okay, you have to use this many blue cards, but here's a reward for doing it. Or you have to, like Benji, you have to play this many cards that are under 2 attack, but here's a reward for doing it. And if you think about the similarities as well between Benji's abilities and Ira's abilities, Ira is clearly a derivative of Benji. They clearly made Benji and then thought, actually, that's too complicated for new players. Let's make Ira instead. And, you know, because the ability is basically the same. You hit with an attack, your next attack gets +1. You know, Ira just gives you a next attack +1. But they're clearly from the same synthesis, right? So, in my opinion, and I think this is a good thing, is that supplementary sets are being used as a testing ground for new hero ideas that haven't found a spot because the devs aren't sure if they work as adult heroes without broader testing. And if they do work, then we may start to see those adult heroes in the next supplementary set or the next set that matches the theme of that hero. So my prediction is that we will get an elemental air Benji, which will work with a few elemental ninja cards in this set, and then at some point in the future we're going to get an air elemental ninja in a mysterious set. Or I mean, it could be like lightning, or it could be earth, but I do think it will be air, and I think we will get that air elemental Benji now. No, all water. I mean, Rushing River, Torrent of Tempo, Flood of Force are all in Crucible, and they're all kind of Benji themed, but Benji does seem more air themed to me, Zephyr Needle, etc, etc. So prediction, adult Benji, prediction, adult Kasai, maybe an adult KO, but I don't think they want to put that much random into CC, because remember with KO, one of the limitations of the deck is that there's only so many times you get to roll the dice, whereas in CC you get to roll that dice a lot more, which can lead to a lot more blowout games, and I don't think they want to do that. I don't think Datadol is very good, so I don't think we'll get an adult version of her, though they could do it just for the fun. Cavdane, no. Shiana, no. I mean, if they print another legendary hero, in my opinion, that is a huge mistake, especially if it's an adult hero. It's one thing if it's a young hero and it's Blitz, that's one thing. Still a mistake, because in my mind, heroes should be the easiest cards to get because they are the accessible part of deck building. Whether you get the hero with all the maxed out bling and all the cards and the attachments, there's another thing entirely. But I actually think that heroes should just be really easy to get. And then the power level of deck depends on how much effort you're willing to put in to build the other cards. But at the base level, heroes are just really easy to get. So anyone can play a hero. Can you play it well without commons and with all the rares, majestics, legendaries? That's up to you and your wallet. But can you play Pauper? Can you play Commoner? Yes. So Shiana's a real big problem, and they should never print another legendary hero. Certainly never a fabled hero. Let's not even entertain that notion. Don't give them ideas. But I do feel like, so we're going to see 3 legendaries this set. You know, they're probably going to be generic equipment. Maybe they're going to be elemental equipment, or just missing pieces for classes that don't have that many legendaries. But I don't really know, to be honest. I know we're getting Skullcap, so I expect another 2 generic equipments or elemental equipment, to be honest. Or what we might get is one elemental, one light or shadow, and or maybe a light and shadow one that can be played by either, just to give those classes a bit more reach, I guess, in terms of what they have available. So yeah, where are we on our predictions? We're on Carnival slot might be just recolored versions of old cards, might be a reprint slot. Gonna use a lot of adult heroes. We're gonna see another 2 elemental heroes for sure, at least. We're gonna see an earth and a lightning elemental hero, a young hero similar to the wizard we've seen already, because they want to print more earth and lightning cards in this set, and they don't want to necessarily print, they don't necessarily want to give every class 12 new cards if those classes didn't warrant those 12 new cards. That's quite important to understand. There is a lot of balance going into the CC in this game. I know there are mistakes with stuff like Briar and things like that, but there is a lot of balance work going into the CC in this game, and there are a lot of predictions for what decks are strong and what decks aren't. I guarantee you they don't want to print a load of 12 more generic Runeblade cards, so there will be a lot of elemental Runeblade, there will be a lot of Shadow Runeblade cards as well, just to make sure that they're not giving Runeblade as a whole this massive 12 card boost. And there will be some other cards, classes that they don't want to give that massive boost to as well. Because remember, we've talked about this in quite a few of our videos, is this idea of horizontal versus vertical design, right? Vertical design is the idea where I'm going to create large, deep pools within specific factions. So Magic the Gathering, we're talking about our 5 colors. There's only ever going to be 5 colors, gold cards, whatever. But each of those 5 colors has a massive, deep pool of design, a huge vertical pool. What we're talking about in Flesh and Blood is a horizontal pool of design, where these pools are a lot shallower, and the shallowness gives them the balance and the imbalance, right? And the fact is that you don't want to make any one of those pools significantly deeper than another one. If you do, you will see huge problems with balancing those pools against the other ones. So that is the initial problem we're having with Runeblade right now, which is that because Runeblade has been in more sets than any of the other classes, each of the Runeblades has a lot more cards to work with. So this is a problem with the horizontal model versus the vertical model. But we're going to see that philosophy basically applied to Everfest, which is essentially that we're going to have these talents which are used to essentially break up the pools into even more horizontal splits, even more mini factions. I think of every single pairing of a class and an element as essentially a mini faction in the game. We're going to have that used as a balancing mechanism to make sure that no single class gets a huge amount of new cards, right? And that's very important. Just need to check the time. And that's very important to make sure that happens, because otherwise we're going to end up in a situation where Runeblade gets another 12 generic Runeblade cards and everything's screwed, right? So don't be surprised if some of the classes you think are very strong now, so maybe Illusionist, we think Illusionist is quite strong, Warrior, we think Warrior is quite strong. Don't be surprised if those classes are the ones that get the elemental young heroes as an excuse for limiting the number of new cards that class gets in this set, right? And that's very important. So, you don't want to make Illusionist too strong, so you add in a Shadow Illusionist. They get access to a certain pool of cards from old sets, but they also give LSS an excuse to print Shadow Illusionist cards in this set, which reduces the number of solely Illusionist cards they have to print. So think about every class that doesn't have a 3-way split. So Illusionist, Warrior, Brute, every class basically that doesn't have a 3-way split, which is kind of every class except Runeblade. I think every class except Runeblade right now. But any of those are a good candidate for elementals. And think about the power of those classes. And then you're going to start to see how that elemental split might go in. So it may be chosen that there'll be a young hero for certain classes based on their power. So that's just something to consider. I think it's quite interesting to think about that. Other than that, I mean, I'm really hyped for the preview season starting next week. My preview is on the 27th, so stay tuned for that. I'm obviously not going to be spoiling the card in advance, but there will be a few teaser videos to kind of give people a hint of what the card might be about, or I mean, I guess they're not, I'm not going to go because I don't want people guessing it beforehand, but, if you know me very well, you might be able to guess things that are related to the card based on the preview videos. You might just have a laugh based on what's going on in them, because they're kind of linked. And I have a few props and stuff like that. Also, a friend of mine who also has a preview channel, that's Fiendel's Library, my good friend Dan Tripp, who many of you will know, who does these fantastic lore videos, and I are going to be sitting down and playing some Blitz games with our new cards, because he got a preview as well. And our plan is to sit down and record a couple Blitz games with our new cards, just trying to maximize the effect of them. So expect to see that. I'm not sure if it will be my preview video. I might do a separate preview video and then put up the Blitz gameplay, just because I want those two sort of separately, but just expect that to come out once I'm allowed to post my card up there. That should be quite exciting for everyone, is to get to see the card in action on the day that we preview it, because Tripp and I actually live very close together, so it's quite easy to record that kind of video. I think that's it really for this lunchtime update. Just some thoughts on Everfest. I mean, I really do think we're coming down to this, and hopefully the lore starts to reflect it a bit more, this big showdown moment where we've kind of had the scene set for the past two sets of these heroes and this grand cosmic conflict between the old ones and the new ones, and the shadow and the light. There's been talk about Fiendel being like a group of people rather than a specific people. Ophidia's a giant sea serpent, all of these fabled things are coming together. And it seems like there's a lot of hints in the lore about things that could be coming and exciting story points. I really wish that LSS would start investing, in having a full writing team and maybe putting out like monthly stories or something like that about what's happening in the world. I think there's so much lore happening here that it would be, really, really a shame for them not to take advantage of that and to not have like, more about lore. So maybe they can get that out there, and that would be really exciting. Anyway, I promise this will be a quick video, just some predictions and thoughts for Everfest. I hope this format's fine. I'd really like to enjoy doing these short videos with not a lot of frill or fuss from the office, and just uploading them and seeing what you guys think. Because after all, as I've always said about my videos, you're not coming to me for the editing. I mean, you're definitely not coming to me for the video editing. Hopefully you're coming to me for the thoughts and for the discussion. And I love talking to all of you guys in the comments and chiming in and off content and what's being said. So have a great day. I'm going to have a good day, even though it's raining. I'm going to hit up the gym at this Brazilian burger place around the way. That's very, very good. Because London is about food, right? This is my final takeaway for all of you people who've never been to London. One of the best things to do in London is eat, right? I mean, you can tell looking at me, one of the best things to do in London is eat, right? We have this massive food culture, and, I spent the weekend shopping in this giant Asian supermarket. I've got this massive list of foods I'm cooking, sambeji, and I'm going to make karaage. I'm going to make a load of like Japanese food next week. I'm probably going to make like a load of like ramen stock and stuff like that, which is going to be amazing. So this is a full tangent, right? I can send lunch photos if you guys want. I mean, sometimes it's good. Most of the time it's just a sandwich, but occasionally I have exciting lunches. Because I'm not bad in the kitchen. I should clarify this. My food is never like plated very well. I'm not a professional chef. I worked in a kitchen for like 3 months. It doesn't count. But I do cook very, very tasty food. So I can share some recipes if you guys want. Anyway, that's it. I mean, I wanted to make this video 20 minutes, so I've rambled on for a little bit just to get those lovely YouTube algorithms working. Obviously, like and subscribe to the video if you haven't already. People keep joking that, it's such a shill thing to say like and subscribe to the video, but equally, if you look at the metrics, the majority of people who watch don't subscribe. And as you all know, I would like to hit 1,000 subscribers, preferably by the end of this month. That would be a really big milestone for me. And I only have 36 to go. So tell your friends, make sure you yourself are subscribed, and it's going to be a good one. And obviously, if you really like my content, which is, really, really like my content, I do have that coffee link in the thing below, so you can support my channel in other ways. just a thought if that's something of interest to you guys. Anyway, this is going to be such an exciting set. I'm super hyped. I'm so hyped that I stopped during my lunch break in the office to talk about how great it's going to be. Next week is going to be awesome. The 27th especially, because that's when my UK content creators get to put our spoilers out. Have a great week. Keep the hype live, and I'm obviously going to be there with you, and it's going to be fantastic.